All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. It's no longer good morning, isn't it? So as I said, I work for Abu Dhabi Maritime, part of Abu Dhabi Ports Group. But I wanted to start first with a recent video that we made for Abu Dhabi Mobility Week. We're showcasing the facilities that Abu Dhabi Maritime manages within Abu Dhabi Emirates. So this is not covering the entire of the UAE. This is just Abu Dhabi Maritime. And it doesn't cover private maritime infrastructure because we do have a lot. Okay. I'll wait a second. I'll put the sound on. All right, hopefully you enjoyed the video. And I know people often say, come to Dubai. It's clearly this saying, come to Abu Dhabi. All right, so before I go into the presentation, so when I was in Melbourne, I served for 3 years as non-executive director on the Melbourne Maritime Heritage Network. And one of the main things that we advocate for is to have a single maritime authority to manage the maritime sector. We don't have it in Melbourne yet, but we have it in Abu Dhabi. So we manage everything water except the commercial port. Abu Dhabi ports look after the commercial port. But I'm not here today to talk about Abu Dhabi Maritime. I'm here today to talk about, just give me a minute, I'll put this in presentation mode. All right. So I'm here today to talk about our success journey. So if you're watching the news, recently it was revealed the new leading maritime city report. Can you hear me? I don't know. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yeah? No? I don't want to talk to the phone.
Really turn on my view.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So the leading maritime city report was announced a couple of weeks ago, with Abu Dhabi making a historic jump of 10 points in the first time of the history of the report. So I'll go through the report. I'll tell you how we did it. All right. So we'll just have an overview of the Abu Dhabi maritime sector. You could see through the video, but also we're talking about 45,000 square meter of area of body of water, almost 230 islands, including artificial islands as well, 52 channels, more than 70,000 vessel movements per year, 9,000 vessels, including recreation vessels, jet skis, and a lot of activities happening within this sector. So it's a pretty significant sector for the Emirates. Our strategic focus for this sector is global ranking, sustainability, innovation, and visibility. And this is really in line with what we're talking about. We need to integrate these elements within our strategy and our strategic directions. So for those who are not fully aware of the leading maritime city report, the report is done in collaboration with DNB and Minen Economics, and they look at maritime cities. They don't look at capitals or countries. So they look at cities and they assess cities based on their maritime presence in terms of operations of the ports, finance and shipping and logistics. We'll go through the key pillars. And they look at main drivers like strategic locations, efficiency of legal framework and large talent pools and so on and so forth. So it's a pretty complex process on how they evaluate each city and then come with the ranking. So it happens every 2 years and it started in 2015. So what they do is that they look at 45 indicators, 31 objectives, 14 expert assessments under 5 main pillars. They look at all the cities of the world, they nominate 50, and then they assess the 50 cities, and then they give them ranking. So the pillars are shipping, finance and law, maritime technology, ports and logistics, and attractiveness and competitiveness, each has 20%. Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi was not in the ranking before 2022. So between 2015 to 2022, Abu Dhabi was not listed or nominated as part of the top 50. We made a strong entry in 2022 by rank 32. You might ask, what did you do differently? We become more transparent because the assessment takes into consideration whatever publicly available data. So you need to share your strategic maps and projects and initiatives with everyone. You have to integrate, you have to talk to industry. So in 2022, what we did differently is that we started showcasing more. We start to collaborate more. But what we did differently in 2024 to jump 10 points to 22 globally is that we had a specific strategy looking at how we can deliver maritime excellence. We started to collaborate to deliver strategic projects, to look at sustainability, to look at what can we do in order to ensure that Abu Dhabi Maritime is set as one of the top global maritime hub. So what we did is that we have a strong gains across all pillars, and I'll go quickly through each of the pillars to see what Abu Dhabi as an emirate did differently. So first, in attractiveness and competitiveness, we jumped 10 points from last year. Mainly first, driven by ranked first globally as an entrepreneurship index. We strongly ranked in the economic freedom index and quality of living index as well. So as I said, they look at what you do as a maritime sector, what the industry thinks of you, and what the global expert thinks of you as well. Also with shipping, we have an increase by 75% for ship owners tonnage. We have ship management tonnage as well, increased by 27%. Hence, we jumped 5 points from the last report. Also, we have improvements with ports and logistics. CEUs rose by more than 35% in the last 2 years, with our focus, with Abu Dhabi Ports Group focus on initiative that focus on increasing shipping and looking at Abu Dhabi as a global shipping hub as well, not only maritime hub. Financial law, we have a lot of improvements. One of the main driven of that improvements was Abu Dhabi Ports Group to be a listed company, which means that you have more transparency and you share a lot of information with the public, including finance and revenues and EBITDA targets and everything. Maritime and technology, we're almost at the same level from last reports, but also we're now looking into new initiative to integrate sustainability, innovation, and technology. As I said, we shared a lot of details in DriftX last week and today in Mobility Live as well into what we're doing with the industry together to ensure that we are integrating innovative solutions with sustainability with our operations within the maritime sector. Now, global as expert assessment. So they do send surveys for global maritime experts and they do have their inputs on different pillars. So we're just highlighting here where Abu Dhabi was ranked among the top cities. So for example, for strong capabilities and infrastructure, Abu Dhabi was ranked 9, especially looking at leading multi-fuel bunkering ports. Also, Abu Dhabi was placed among the top 10 cities that the maritime expert believes that it is an attractive location to relocate your headquarters. Okay, is Dubai on the list? Yeah, Dubai third on the list. Or whatever, we make it to the top 10. Also, we have strong indicators from experts that Abu Dhabi will make it to the top 15 in the next 5 years. I would reveal our next reporting cycle target very soon. Also, among the top cities for digital transformations, we have a lot of initiative going on now. We have a Nalia app where you have all your safety maps in one place, and you can use it for updated informations to look at the routes before you start your journey, and this is available for the general public as well. Also, we are in the top 10 cities with the green transformation within the maritime industry. As I said, we're working on a couple of initiatives as well. We're looking at partnering with academic institutions as well to make sure that R&Ds are integrated in our decision-making as well when it comes to sustainabilities and targets. One of the initiatives that really close to our heart is the Maritime Hub Abu Dhabi, Al-Markaz Al-Bahri Abu Dhabi. We launched this initiative in December 18, 2023, so it's just a few months old. And the main task of this hub is really to promote the collaboration between private sectors, government sectors, and education institutions. So it is based on 3 pillars: connect, create, and collaborate. It is very similar to a not-for-profit organization, but until it's mature in the next couple of years, it will fully separate from Abu Dhabi Port. So now it's being managed by Abu Dhabi Maritime to ensure that we are actually, promoting for networking, for projects, for fundings, until the hub is ready to operate by its own. We already started with our working groups. So our working groups, there's 7 working groups. They're made up of experts from the industry from Abu Dhabi. We can have a look at the 7 groups. So shipping, offshore, advanced maritime services, engineering and technical, ports and logistics, marine and leisure, and R&D and maritime education and training. And again, we're talking about this is all focused on Abu Dhabi. We're putting a lot of efforts here to ensure that we're getting over the challenges that we were talking about now, is that how much do we collaborate? How much do we put our commercial competitiveness aside and make sure that we're making decisions that will enable us all to grow and all to overcome the challenges. We also, through the hub, we facilitate the discussion through the regulators as well. So, and this will help us to ensure that whatever recommendations or review we're making, whether we're talking about federal laws or local laws as well, it is in line with what the private sector is going through. Last week also we were talking about the adaptation of the regulatory AI integration of the maritime industry. And one of the main challenges is that AI industry is really moving faster than anything else. So even if you're trying to make your regulations more adaptable or even your talent more available, by the time you make that change, the technology has advanced as well. So we started to look at more of the importance of having the correct talents in dealing with that AI. So not any application worthy of testing, because I want to make sure whatever AI integration I'm doing to the industry, it's actually enhancing my safety measures. And we've seen a lot of AI applications that does compromise safety, in fact, because they would claim they will be faster or doing things smarter, things like that. But we also take a couple of steps back and say, what safety measures can be improved through this integration? And then I look at time, and then I look at resources, because especially within the maritime sector, if safety is not the cornerstone of everything that you do, we're a safety-driven industry, then compromising just to save time and resources can increase our risk. And then we look at our crisis management. Looking ahead, so our target for the 2026 report is to be among the top 20. So we're 22 now. We're looking at to be a top 20 for in the next couple of years. So we have 2 years to work on initiatives. And we do have some projects in place. We will soon publish the GDP of the maritime sector of Abu Dhabi. This is not done at Emirates level ever. It's always done at country level. So if you want to go, what is the GDP of the maritime sector of the UAE? You have that number readily available, but it doesn't reflect the Emirates. We're working with DNB now to calculate the Abu Dhabi GDP for the maritime sector. We also will be launching soon a research center that focuses on sustainability in maritime in collaboration with education institutes. We will also be launching for this year an incentive program for sustainability practices within the maritime sector. Soon, in the next couple of weeks, we will share with the industry the ESG framework for the maritime sector of Abu Dhabi and the reporting handbook for the industry who wish to report their ESG target. It is not yet enforceable, but we're trying to promote the sustainability culture. So we're having a lot of initiatives going to be delivered in the next couple of years. But overall enablers is that, again, sustainability-driven technological integration, global benchmarking. We do a lot of benchmarking with our colleagues in Singapore because they're ranked number 1. Fostering industry collaboration, advocate for a better economy, and award-winning maritime infrastructure. That takes me before Q&A. Today is the last day of the Abu Dhabi Mobility Week events, and today we're showing in the immersive room our public water transport strategy. So as part of our mandate, we also run public water transport. So we have water taxis and ferries take people from one point to another. We do have an existing route. It's not very extensive. We have around 9 routes at the moment, but we will increase this in the next 3 phases. So we have phase 1, which is at design stage at the moment, phase 2, phase 3. If you are in Abu Dhabi today, you will be able to go into an immersive room and see the whole experience, but I brought it to you here. So I'm sharing with you our public water transport strategy managed by Abu Dhabi Maritime.
The existing public water transport system will be significantly expanded to enhance connectivity, promote tourism, and increase Abu Dhabi reputation as a top maritime destination.
So these are the existing one.
The new public water transport services will be rolled out over 3 phases. Phase 1, strategic routes, created to provide connections to high-demand routes. Phase 2, network scaling, expanding and creating additional connections to high-demand routes. Phase 3, network completion, launching of new routes to connect to future developments.
All right, now you have more reasons to come to Abu Dhabi. So the public water transport strategy is fully funded by Abu Dhabi government, and it's under this collaboration and supervision of the Department of Municipality and Transport. So what we do, we ensure the integration with other modes of transport as well. So buses, bikes, and we will have our own bicycle networks in Abu Dhabi. In fact, if you're at the immersive room today, you will see the stages for the bicycle network as well. So that will integrate with public transport, land transport as well, to ensure that we actually are offering an alternative mode of transport for people to go from one point to another, to make sure that we're having less probably cars or buses on the streets, and also to promote the maritime sector. This is public water transport strategy. However, it is put in line with the maritime tourism strategy as well, because we look at this as well as tourism attractions for people to go from one point to another. From Mersamina, in fact, you can park your car at the Mersamina and then you go to the Louvre, spend time there, and then come back with a water taxi. It's relatively very cheap ride compared to taking a taxi or going by car. But also, it's as I said, it's a multi-billion dollars project over the next 3 phases. But we're bringing the best technology. The next phase, so the first one, when it's fully delivered, it will be fully electric. We have some hydrofoils as well will be there. So we're trying to bring the best technologies to the table. So come visit Abu Dhabi, ride in one of our water taxi, and keep an eye on the progress. I'm happy to take any questions if you have one. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Haya. Any question?
Sure. Thank you for the presentation. It was definitely insightful. A question, are you looking at underwater artificial reefs as part of the sustainability?
Well, we work with our colleagues in the Department of Environment, the EAD agency. We're looking at the different technologies that we can enhance, not the reef, but probably a habitat as well. So, for example, we recently inaugurated the marina at Saadiyat. We noticed that there might be an impact of delivering that marina in that locations. We installed concrete walls and seabeds in that area to enhance habitat. We actually were awarded an Stevie Award for this initiatives. So what we did is that in collaboration with the EAD, we did study into the habitat that might be impacted on that, and we made sure that there is an alternative habitat within the same areas. And we measured that continuously with the EAD to ensure that it is actually working, attracting to that. So what we do is that before we launch anything, and interestingly, because we were looking, so we said that we have 2 kite surfing beaches, but we're delivering more. One of, for example, the chosen location, the new location, was close to a very unique habitat area. So instead of doing something there and trying to compensate, we looked at different locations. So we tried to collaborate with EAD. So EAD does lead the way for habitat and reef and everything underwater, but we also contribute with our unique solutions. We look at new technologies, we're bringing new things. I think when I was in Melbourne, we had these floating wetlands. I'm not sure if anyone saw that down the Yarra. So you have floating wetlands, we put them down the Yarra to attract more birds and stuff like that. So I think this is one of the things that needs joining forces and looking at global best practices.
Well, just to mention on that, so we do have a company which has actually worked in Melbourne, Brisbane and Sydney. It's a Korean company, but it's based in Chatswood. They've been operating the region now for 10 years, so they've done extensive work in water.
Yep. Yeah, we can look at that. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for that insightful presentation. Definitely, usually in quality improvement, Abu Dhabi Maritime and Port has done a good job to jump that step in the ladder in benchmarking and making sure that we are among the top 10. And the framework, look at rigorous framework, definitely maybe you're more expert. What is the main barrier that you think, no matter any industry or any city might do, still it's difficult? Because sometimes there are some external factor that no matter what we do internally in organization, still that will play a key role in not being able to go up.
Yeah. So I think the closer you get to the top 20 and top 10, you will soon recognize it's not only maritime. You need to have your national banks on board, your financial institutes, the economic plans, your economic strategies as well, because you would look at the attractiveness of the city, we're not talking about Abu Dhabi, but in general, we look at the attractiveness of the city as a major maritime hub. And that brings with the whole 5 pillars to the play. So shipping and there's finance, there's regulations. So I think the further you progress within the ranking, the sooner you will hit a glass ceiling saying you're not alone, you have to join forces. And we started these discussions in Abu Dhabi. We started to talk about with banks and insurance companies. We're looking at incentives for sustainable practices. I know that Australia has already materialized that, where you'll get some incentive in your mortgage if you have, sorry, not your mortgage, company's mortgage and finance, if you have your sustainable target met or carbon emission offset met. But in UAE, we're still working on that. But as I said, we do have a strategy for that city ranking. And the whole idea is not really to be within the top 10. So we're not looking at the numbers, but we know that if we progress to the top 10 or top 5, we are actually offering best maritime experience for our internal operators and community as well as an attracting others. But also other important factors probably is the geographical location as well. So not every city is a unique geographical location where they can attract others as well. So you need to be an attractive global hub to be within the top 5, probably, if you look at Singapore's and others. But as I said, we're working closely with Singapore. We have an MOUs with NBA and SMF. My team traveled to Singapore last year twice to do a lot of benchmarking before we launched the hub as well. So I think looking at best practice and having government support, and we do have government support and budget allocated for that, hopefully will allow us to progress further and have more collaborations with other sectors as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hayat. We have one question from our Australian.
Thanks, Dr. Hayat. It was a great presentation. But I look with interest. It's amazing the body of work that's been undertaken. From your perspective, you've got a 2026 delivery date with your pillars and your strategies and your objectives.
Yeah.
Do you see any risk in terms of non-delivery, or is it just too much momentum for this not to be delivered?
I think the only risk is time. And especially now we're talking, as I said, about delivering initiatives that really in partnership with other sectors. So the GDP study, for example, we do it in collaboration with DAD and SCAD in Abu Dhabi. And once you are out of your bubble, then you have to work with everybody else, red taping and time availability and things. So I think our biggest risk is time and any other geopolitical risks happening. But again, UAE is doing a great job with keeping everything safe and fully operational. And this is huge success for Abu Dhabi, but also Dubai has moved 2 steps, I think, in the ranking. So as getting closer, probably we need to deliver things yesterday to ensure that the ranking is improved in the next 2 years. Thank you.
We have time for one more question.
Thanks very much, Dr. Had, for this interesting presentation. It's very insightful and I really enjoyed it. Just a quick question. How, in order to achieve the sustainability and going into this is very wide, as you know, and the technology is evolving every day. How do you ensure that you are up to date with R&D in all over the world? You know, every day is something coming up. So
Yeah.
how do you
So as I said, we joined forces with the Abu Dhabi Maritime Academy on the R&D part. We're looking at the different aspect of integrating a sustainable solution in climate change management. It is not enough, we know, but we also try to keep up to date with researchers, white papers and things. And we're always open for collaborations as well with other universities globally. And as I said, our team does work closely with Singapore, looking at research and development. We also, look, I'm a strong advocate here. I put my academic hat on. We're strong advocate of preparing talents as well. So it's not enough whenever we have a new, sustainability practice or AI integration just to upgrade or upskill your current workforce. We have to plan for the next generation that they're coming. And we were discussing the other day on a panel on that. And I stressed really on important things because now it is still important that to integrate AI into studies and curriculums and syllabus, but okay, we integrate AI solutions now, and by the time this generation finish, by the next 5 or 6 years, this is all technology, you know. So the idea of actually keeping upskilling workforce is costing us time and resources. What we need is to enable our current talents being met at universities to have two things. They need to have the traditional learning and knowledge. So this is a must. Everybody has to have it. But I'm strong advocate of skills as well. So I think the students now need to have knowledge gaining skills. I need to train them on how to identify the need to search for knowledge, how to do that, and how to put it in application. So they're not very dependent on training and upskilling through workplace. They actually can do it themselves. So hopefully we see more integration of how we can empower students to be knowledge seekers. We did that at the University of Melbourne. So when we teach the Masters of Engineering Project Management for Procurement and Contract, we do that in collaboration with the Victorian government. We use up-to-date project documents, big CapEx projects, and we ask the students to form a team and start to look at these contracts and things like that. So we want to bring the workplace to the classroom before they go there. The other thing is internship, and probably Dr. Mohammed and I need to catch up on that. Internship should not be traditional anymore. You know, it shouldn't be a student who goes to workplace, finish a couple of weeks and come back. It has to be very dynamic. So we delivered the program within the University of Melbourne where the student will have an academic mentor, an industry mentor for 6 weeks or whatever the length and the duration of the internship. And those two mentors talk to each other. It's not about the students. It's about to make sure the integration is actually happening. We need to be up to speed to what's happening in the industry, because we can't just keep saying, okay, there is a gap between industry and academia and we need to bridge the gap. Well, first, the gap shouldn't exist. And second, we have to actively work to make sure that we're both up to speed. So I think working on upskilling talent being made and workforce is so important for us to be up to date with R&Ds and sustainability and innovative solutions. Thank you.
This is excellent. Just one more thing which I would like to ask you about. Do you have some, you know the gaps? Where are the gaps which you need some inventions or so you need some solutions, sustainable solutions and so on? Is this available for our students just to go and, just you can provide this for us so we can work on this together?
Yeah, sure, 100%. So at Abu Dhabi Ports Group, we do have internship program and graduate programs, but also we can happily join forces in research and And I know in Australian University do that as well. So we do work in collaboration with industry to bring students to ensure that they're making an effort into industry-driven research. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Haya. I really want to thank everyone. It's a lunchtime. I don't want to keep you away from your lunchtime.
Yeah.
And I want to say one more word that she was very, very helpful, not only in this event, as well in our discussion. And she knows about future work with UOWD and the industry. So there will be more event coming with Dr. Haya regarding especially reaching the education sector.
Inshallah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Shukran. Assalamu alaikum.
It's time for the last break.
Thank you.
Thank you.